Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City of Madeira Beach Variance Special Exception Use Special Magistrate Hearing. My name is Bart Valdez, and I'm the appointed Special Magistrate to hear today's cases. I'm a practicing attorney and have been a member of the Florida Bar for over 20 years. I've been appointed to this position in accordance and with the authority set forth under Florida law and the City of Madeira Beach Code of Ordinances. It is my role to fairly and objectively review the matters presented today in these variance requests. As such, I would like to advise you of certain matters related to today's proceedings. Today's matters will be heard in the order that they appear on the agenda. At this time, I have read and reviewed the applications with all attachments, any written submissions by anyone having an interest, any timely submitted written objections, and the materials provided by the city staff. In all cases, the hearing will be conducted in the following order. We will confirm that public notice has been proper. The city will present its case and staff report, and the applicant may ask questions of the city's representative. The applicant will present his or her case supported by witnesses and evidence, and the city may cross-examine each witness. 4, public comment will be solicited or received from parties directly affected by the variance. Individuals testifying do not have the right to cross-examine the parties. All public comment should be limited to 3 minutes per person. After that, public participation will then be closed. I'll deliberate and then make a decision to grant or deny each variance requested in the application. Formal rules of evidence do not apply to this proceeding. However, I will exert every effort to ensure that fundamental fairness is afforded to all parties. After my decision today, I will issue an order. The order will be reduced to writing, and the applicant will be provided with a copy by mail. Additionally, you are advised that I do not have the authority to grant anyone a building permit. You still must obtain a building permit for any work you intend to do on your property. If you wish to present any information to me today, it is necessary that you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth. Therefore, in just a moment, I'll ask the city attorney to administer an oath and swear in all witnesses. If there's anyone out there in the audience that expects to talk to me today during the hearing on the variances, then you will need to rise and be sworn. This includes any members of the public who are directly affected by the variance and may wish to provide public comment. Mr. Trask, can you please swear in all the witnesses?
Yes, anyone that's going to testify today, if you can stand up, raise your right hand. Anyone that's going to speak on this variance application. You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you.
All right, the first case on the agenda today is VAR 2022-04 for the property located at 400 Virginia Avenue. Is the city ready to proceed?
Yes, we are.
Go ahead, Mr. Trask.
So the city would call Andrew Morris. He's going to testify as to this application. Andrew, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yes, I can. Yes, okay. The variance request is to reduce the front setback from 20 feet to 7 feet, reduce the west side setback from 10 feet to 7 feet, and reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 12 feet. The reduction in the front yard setback will allow for an extension of the front bedroom to add a handicap accessible bathroom and closet. The reduction in the side and rear setbacks will allow for an extension of the garage. The specific code provisions would be the setback requirements for the R1 zoning district, section 110-181, front yard setback of 20 feet, section 110-1A12, rear yard that would for non-waterfront lots is 25 feet, and section 110-419, same side yards, 10 feet setback from any adjacent street, and then section 110-428, same side yard of corner lot, side yard setback of 10 feet along the street side. The variance request for 400 Virginia Avenue would reduce the front setback, rear setback, and the street adjacent side yard west side of the property setback to accommodate a handicap accessible bathroom, accessible closet, and expanding existing garage. The existing home and lot are legally non-conforming since the lot was platted in 1944 and the house was built in 1945. The existing home and lot predate the creation of the R1 zoning district and zoning chapter of the Madeira Beach Code of Ordinances. under the variance criteria and analysis, special conditions and circumstances exist, which are peculiar to the land, building, or other structures for which the variance is sought and which do not apply generally to the lands, building, or other structures in the same district. Special conditions to be considered shall include, but are not limited to, the following circumstances. With this case, a substandard or irregular shaped lot, if the site involves the utilization of an existing lot that has unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity of shape, narrowness, shallowness, or the size of the lot is less than the minimum required in the district regulations. And then it's also applicable to C, which was residential neighborhood character. If the proposed project promotes the established historic or traditional development pattern of a block face, including setbacks, building height, and other dimensional requirements. In our staff findings, connects back to A, the lot at 400 Virginia Avenue is a regular shaped lot that does not meet the current minimum lot size requirements for the R1 single family zoning district. The lot is 3,801 square feet of land, while the lot minimum for the R1 zoning district is 5,000 square feet. The lot does not meet the required minimum lot depth of 80 feet. The home at 400 Virginia Ave does not meet the current front setbacks, rear setbacks, or adjacent street side setbacks. The lot and home at 400 Virginia Avenue predate the zoning chapter in the Madeira Beach Code ordinances. The lot and home at 400 Virginia Avenue are considered legally non-conforming. And then next finding, which relates to the surrounding properties near 400 Virginia Avenue were platted in 1944. Since the nearby lots predate zoning, many of the lots near 400 Virginia Avenue are regular shaped, non-conforming size lots. Many of the nearby homes are legally non-conforming and do not meet the current setback requirements since they were built before the zoning was established. This proposed project fits the character of the neighborhood since the nearby lots were platted at the same time, and many of the nearby homes were built around the same time as 400 Virginia Avenue. The special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. A self-created hardship shall not justify variance. In staff findings, the home at 400 Virginia Avenue was built in 1945 and predates the current zoning requirements. The lot was platted in 1944 and predates the creation of the R1 zoning district and chapter 110 zoning. The next set criteria was granting the variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other lands, buildings, or structures in the same zoning district. In the staff findings, since the lot at 400 Virginia Avenue and nearby surrounding properties were platted in 1944, many nearby properties have similar setback issues because of their regular shaped lots that predate zoning. Many existing homes in the neighborhood have garages and would not grant any special privileges. Building a handicap accessible bathroom and closet would not grant any special privileges. The next set of criteria, literal interpretation would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district under the same terms of the land development regulations. Subpart B of this code and would work unnecessary and undue hardship on the applicant. In the findings, when the front setback and rear setback for the R1 zoning district and the street adjacent side yard setback are overlaid on the lot, the allowable buildable area for the lot is minimal compared to a conforming lot in the R1 zoning district. Many of the neighboring homes and lots near 400 Virginia Avenue are legally non-conforming. A literal interpretation would deprive the applicant of the rights that are commonly enjoyed by other properties in the R1 zoning district. Variance granted is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land. And the findings, it would be difficult to create an ADA bathroom and closet within the existing footprint of the home. A standard garage door would not be possible to install within the existing footprint of the house where the current garage is located. The proposed variance to reduce the front setback, rear setback and street adjacent side yard, west side setback would be the minimum required to make possible reasonable use of the land. The granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the city land development regulations, and that such variance will not be injurious to the area involved or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Findings. VAR 2022-04 is in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the city land development regulations. The proposed handicap accessible bathroom and closet and expanded garage would fit within the character of the neighborhood and not have a negative impact on neighboring properties or public welfare. Under staff recommendations, staff recommends approval of VAR 2022-04 to reduce the front setback from 20 feet to 7 feet, reduce the west side setback from 10 feet to 7 feet, and reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 12 feet for a handicap accessible bathroom, closet, and expanded garage. Attached to this are the application, proposed plans with survey, and the public notice that was mailed to properties within 300 feet of this property and posted at the property, city hall, and the library, and on our website.
Thank you. At this time, we're done with the presentation from staff. We tender into evidence the staff report and the attachment starting at page 2, running through page 36 of the packet.
All right, Mr. Trask, I'll go ahead and accept into evidence the agenda packet that is pages number 2 through 36 of the packet. Any other witnesses, Mr. Trask?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Is there anyone here on behalf of the owner? Mr. Wilson, are you here? Okay, come on up. Hi, how are you? What is your name?
My name is Gloria Ridenauer. Curtis Wilson is my brother, and his wife Lois Rapp is my
All right.
sister-in-law.
Gloria, can you spell your last name
Yes.
for me, please?
Ridennour.
All right. Ma'am, I'm going to give you a chance to tell me anything you want on behalf of your brother in a moment, but now is your opportunity to ask questions of the city's representative. As you may have heard, the city is representing that I go ahead and approve this. You don't have to ask him questions if you don't want to, but you have the right to ask questions if
I
you do
don't-
want
I
to.
don't have any questions, other than what we submitted.
All right, then that sounds fine. Just stay right there, ma'am, because you may be up next. So just hold on one second. Mr. Trask, anything else? Any other questions that you want to ask? She didn't ask any, but is there anything you want to ask?
No, but I did want to bring to your attention 2 things. The city has received a written response for this application. I'm sure if you have those in your possession, I wanted to make sure. It looks like Thressa Nelson, 410 140th Avenue East. And we also received a notice of intent to be an affected party from Gregory Castle for the same application. And I think that that was provided to you as well. I just want to make sure that was part of the record.
Yes, and I'll go ahead and put in the comments by Ms. Nelson as exhibit number 2 and the notice to be an affected party as exhibit number 3. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Morse, I don't have any questions of you right now. I may have a question for you if any members of the public come up or if we need to discuss those objections, but I don't have any questions of you right now. Ms. Ridenauer, this is your opportunity to tell me anything else you'd like to tell me in support of it. Again, the city's recommending approval. You don't have to say anything, but if there's anything you want to say, if there's any witnesses you want to call, if there's any documents you want to show me, this is your opportunity during the hearing.
No, I don't. I appreciate your help.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may have a seat. All right, at this point in time, the city has put on their case. The applicant has had the opportunity to put on the applicant's case, and now is the time for public comment. Any members of the public want to come forward and provide comment on variance 2022-04? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, let the record reflect there are no members of the public that have come forward here today. Mr. Morris, I just have a question for you. In looking at the one comments that were provided by Ms. Nelson, is there anything in regard to the first comment dealing with the maximum lot coverage or impervious surface ratio that changes or impacts your staff report at all regarding your recommendation for approval of the variance?
Any building permit we would receive would still have to meet the other requirements in the R1 zoning district, because this variance is only related to those setbacks.
Understood. And in regard to number two, it talked about the application mentioning or the variance application acknowledging the setbacks. I saw in your staff report, you acknowledged that the existing structure was not in the setbacks. But is there anything in regard to the second point of Ms. Nelson's comment that changes your staff report in any way?
It does not, I mean, the building itself was built before the R1 zoning district. So there weren't setback or lot requirements that had to meet back when it was built.
All right, thank you, Mr. Morris. And I understand that staff is just recommending approval with no conditions or anything, correct?
Correct.
All right. Mr. Trask, anything further from the city?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, based upon the testimony provided by the city, the lack of any objections from the public, and the fact that Mr. Morris was able to respond to the two comments that were provided by Ms. Nelson, I'm going to go ahead and grant the variance. So, ma'am, what we'll do is I'll prepare a written order granting the variance, and I'll go ahead and send that to Mr. Wilson. Does he want me to send the order to the 400 Virginia Avenue address, or is there a different number?
My brother and his wife, she works for the Department of Defense and they live in Japan right now. Although he'll be here in October again, so.
Okay,
So what is his next step then?
he's going to get an order from me and that ends the variance.
Oh,
So
that's it,
I would get
okay.
with the city staff over there. They can give you the next step.
All right.
All righty. All right, Ms. Trask, I believe that's everything on the agenda. I think there was a code enforcement matter. Is it removed from the agenda?
Yes, it was removed from the agenda.
All right, so does that conclude today's agenda for both the code enforcement and special magistrate for variance?
It does.
All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes today's hearing.